In this module, we're going to be looking at functions. What is a function? Functions are pre-written formulas that help us simplify entering calculations. When we use functions, we can quickly create formulas that might be difficult to make by yourself. There are many common functions and more advanced functions. For example, the sum function, the average function, the maximum function, the minimum function are illustrations of very common functions. And let's demonstrate exactly how this works. As you can see, I put in on the screen the word maximum, minimum, and average. I just typed it in and I have the word average again. You'll see why I did that. If you click in, let's say, in this case, cell F4, we'd like to get the maximum of the values in January, February, and March for cash. To do that, functions begin with an equal sign. We type in the word max, and we get a little hint to what to do, but let's continue. And we're going to now highlight the cells we want to consider to get the max from those cells, and press enter. In order to continue, we can easily copy down this cell, the formula, and it'll now give us the maximum for accounts receivable, which is 1875, and the maximum for inventory, 1876, and current assets. Now don't worry about that blank. I'll show you later how we can have Excel get rid of unnecessary blank rows. Let's do the minimum. Same idea, equals MIN. And we can now do the same cells and press enter. Let's copy it down, and you'll see exactly the same idea holds. For the average, equals AVE, and notice we get some hints. We'll choose equals average, and we're going to highlight the same three cells, and let's press enter, and there we go. Let's carry it down. The reason I have the word average over here, and again, don't worry about the div, we'll explain this later, is because I want to show you another way of obtaining it. And a second way is there's a item here called f of x, which stands for insert function in Excel. If we press that, it's going to actually help us with the function. Let's press that function, and up comes different functions that exist in Excel. And right now they're all it's alphabetically arranged. However, if you would, and you can go down to the one that you want, in this case it would be average. It tells you what it does. Let's press OK, and now we can just type in the cells where we want the average to be calculated. In this case it's from B4 to B6, so we'll type in B4 and colon B6, press enter, and there we go. Now, did we make a mistake? Let's take a look. I wrote down average B4 to B6. That's incorrect. We really want B4, and we want it to be to D4. Now, if you remember, we have an editing key. We can press that, and we can go back and actually easily change it. So instead of B4, B6, let's put in B4 to D4. And now we see it looks much better. Let's copy down the same way we did before, and we now have same results. Now going back to that special f of x, we noticed we used it just for average. However, if I take the cursor, let's move it to a different location, and let's press f of x, you'll see that if we press the down arrow, it gives us a whole list of different functions that are built in, from most recently to financial, math, statistical, etc. And we're going to try some of these, some popular ones, and when we need others, we'll use them as well. One of them I'd like to show you is non-mathematical, and we're going to type in the following. Type in equals today, and let's press enter after we put in those parentheses, and notice it gives us today's date. If we continue, and put in another function like equals date, press enter. Now, looks like we made a mistake. Rather, I made a mistake. Equals date, it's waiting for us to put in a year, month, and day. So this is very useful because Excel tells us exactly what we need to type in. Now this is not a very common function, but I want to show you exactly how easy it is to put in exactly what Excel wants. Let's put in the following. Okay, and now we have a date as well. Let's continue, and let's type in equal now. Let's see if that works. And it gives us a date, and it gives us a time as well. So some of these you're able to guess what they do. Others you will have to actually look up. And we'll do a few more of these to get the handle of. You may think that many of these functions are very, very simple, and you may not even need them. Let me give you an illustration with a slightly more difficult one. Let's type in two dates. So for example, let's type in 5/6/2011, and let's type in another date, which would be 9/8/2011. And possibly I'd like to find out the number of days between May 6th and September 8th. I can easily do that by just typing in equals and referring to the cell. In this case it's G12. Put in the minus and the other cell, which equals G minus, and let's press enter. And we see, according to this, there are 125 days. Well, that's not too difficult to figure out. But let's do another one, and let's type in this function. Let's see if we know what this is. Equals networkdays, and let's refer to the two cells again. Here it says the start date and the end date. Let's say we start work on May 6th. Click on that, comma, and let's put in the end date by clicking on the next one. Let's ignore where it says holidays for now, and let's press enter. Now what Excel has figured out is how many net working days there are between May 6th and September 8th. Let's finish off with two functions. Let's type in a few names. Let's start off with, alright, I typed in altogether at this point 7 names. How do I know it's 7? Well, I can count it, or maybe I can use a function which will do it for me. Let's type in equal count, and let's highlight the cells I want Excel to count for me. Press enter. You don't like that. Let's take a look at that again. Equals count. I get a 0. Let's see why. Well, the answer for that is that the count function only counts how many cells have numbers. So if I would repeat that, for example, let's type in equals count, and this time let's refer to the cells we have over here from B4 to B8, and let's press enter. You'll see it now tells us there were 4 cells that had data. 1, 2, 3, this is blank, and then the 4th one. Okay, so that's one item, one function. And let's do another function. We notice I typed in the names, they're all caps. And I said, oh no, I really want it to be either all lowercase, or how do I change that without retyping it? We do have a function where we can type in the following, equals lower. And in this case, we can highlight the cells and press enter. Let's do for this one, and let's try for another one. Maybe we even copy it down. We can try that if it will work for us. Let's see. Sure, look at that. We have 5 names lowercase, and we can do the others as well. But as we can see, we have a very nice time saver, and you can check through the various functions because there are literally hundreds of functions that one could use, but probably the most common ones that you will use will only be something like maybe 2 dozen.